counsel has made this case about race and religion from the jump. I wrote down, we are more worried about the Muslim than the murderers. That came from this side. This whole narrative about it being a cultural issue and the government being racist and chasing after this man because he's Arabic and Muslim came from this side. You never heard those words ever come from out of any one of our mouths.
That's not true.
That's their narrative.
The FBI agent said they made a mistake.
Do you have an objection?
That's not true. They made a mistake and labeled it honor killing.
Thank you.
As stated.
Counsel. Ladies and gentlemen, the argument of counsel is not evidence. You will recall the testimony and the evidence that came from the witness stand. You may proceed.
As I stated, you never heard it come from my mouth, co-counsel here, co-counsel there, or co-counsel there. They want to create that narrative for you because it's convenient for them. So let me make it clear so that they understand, Yaser Saeed understands, okay? If you intentionally or knowingly cause the death of another in Dallas County, we are coming for you, period. You will be prosecuted, period. It has nothing to do with your race or religion. Something else that we obviously need to go over is right to subpoena power. The defense has every absolute right to call whoever they want to call.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to flipping the burden. This is again trying to argue that we have some responsibility to prove our case. In this instance, she's trying to tell the jury that we have the right to subpoena whoever we wanted to prove our case. And it's inappropriate, and we would object to flipping the burden, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you will remember that the burden of proof rests on the state throughout the trial and never shifts to the defendant. You may proceed.
Thank you. That's the law. The burden always rests with the state. As I told you in opening, we greatly accept that responsibility, and we've proven our case. But the law is they have equal subpoena power, just like you heard from Ms. Mitchell and Vordaer in jury selection. If they want to go and subpoena records, they can. If they want to bring someone to testify, they can, and they did. The defendant testified. He waived his Fifth Amendment right to testify. That means he was subject to cross-examination by me. That means I get to attack his credibility. So they can sit up here and say all day that we cannot call him a liar, but he is. That didn't make any sense, and you know it. He wants to tell you that he was so scared for his life that he left his girls, the girls who he never let do anything, who he never let out of his sight, left them in the car with his 9mm handgun that he keeps for protection, left his phone. What if he has an emergency? If he's so scared, doesn't he need to call 911? And he runs in the wooded area, telling them to take the cab. The cab is yours. Another interesting piece, do you all remember how the car was found in the Omni cab line with no keys in the ignition? What happened to the keys? Story not matching up. Then he says he walks to the Waffle House. He didn't have a plan, but he just thought that somebody would pick him up. I asked him, where else did you go? He evaded. They want to say he looked you in your eye when he responded to the questions. He never looked you in the eye. He couldn't even answer if he loved his daughters. He told you to review tapes that are not even admitted into evidence. This story that he's concocting, this story of how he thinks these events happened, are not true. Remember, the charge says that we must prove our case beyond a reasonable doubt. They can throw whatever they want up on the wall, see if it sticks. You have to say, is it reasonable? Is it reasonable for you to believe that because the taxi cab wasn't fingerprinted, a taxi cab that Yaser Saeed borrowed, a taxi cab that previously belonged to Jahib Tafal, a taxi cab that has many people going in and out of it, that is it reasonable because it wasn't fingerprinted? He's not guilty? That's That's what they want you to believe? They want you to believe that Edgar and Eric committed this crime? The two boyfriends that were willing to drop out of school, that were willing to defy their parents, that were willing to start new with Amina and Sarah to help them, to help the girlfriends that they loved, that they committed these murders and not the abusive father? Is that reasonable for you to believe? That's the test. That's the standard. Not just anything that they throw up at you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, all signs always pointed to Yaser Saeed, period. He was last in possession of the cab with the girls. He admitted to that. 14 years later, he still puts himself at the crime with the girls. Last seen with them. He admits that he was going to take them out to go eat. Okay? He admits to having a gun in that car. Patricia and Islam are at home. They said that Yaser had the girls. Why are they the suspects? Why do they need to, what about them leads you to believe it wasn't Yaser? And let's just remember who all has made themselves available 14 years after the fact to come in here and testify. Who is available? Edgar, Eric, Patricia, who has been in hiding for 12 years because of harsh media coverage? Who turned off their phone after Sarah called her 911 call and never popped up, never showed up at the funeral, never said, "This is my side of the story"? Yaser Saeed. All signs always pointed to Yaser Saeed. And we have an eyewitness to the crime. Sarah Saeed tells you who her killer is.
What's going on, man? I'm dying. Okay, let me transfer you. I want to get some, sorry, hold on, okay. Hold on 1 second, okay? Oh my God.
Oh my God, not again. Stop it, stop it. My dad just shot me. That's your eyewitness right there. She's telling you, she's screaming out from the grave right now. He's here, he did it. Which horse is defense gonna ride? Is it auditory or visual hallucinations, or is it not Sarah? Because I can't keep up. They need to decide. 1 minute,
Objection, Your Honor, flipping the burden. It is not our job. It is the jury's determination of what is credible. But she keeps trying to say that it's our job to prove this, prove that, and it is inappropriate closing argument, Your Honor.
The jury will remember the evidence and the testimony in this case. Argument of counsel is not evidence, and the burden of proof remains on the state throughout the trial.
thank you, Your Honor. Once again, the defense does not have to prove anything, but believe me, if they make any arguments, if they put somebody on the stand, it must be credible. You have to gauge that credibility just as you would our witnesses. And you've heard evidence from this side, an argument from this side, that Sarah was having auditory and visual hallucinations, and now you're hearing it's not Sarah. That's what you've heard. We set you up a very tight timeline. Ms. Hopkins came and testified. You didn't hear from 100 emails from Ms. Hopkins. You heard from one because it's relevant to the timeline. The girls ran on December 25th. December 21st, Amina tells you why she's running, tells you why she's so scared, right? And State's Exhibit 7, my dad began checking phone records, and he took my sister to the room, and he specifically threatened to hurt her very badly if she didn't tell me what was going on. When we were younger, he used to do things, and he's starting to hinting at doing them again. Look, I could go on forever. He has simply made our lives a nightmare. He's one man.
We're going to hit the pause button right here. Have to hit a break. What do you think of the state's rebuttal so far? Send us a tweet. Let us know at Court TV. Feel free to tweet me directly as well. I'd say this prosecutor's doing a fine job hammering home the points they want to make to this jury before it's time to deliberate. And then we all go on a verdict watch together. Don't go anywhere. Stay right here. We'll be back in just a moment.
Scott Peterson
looking for a new trial
because a juror withheld information.
She feared for the life of her unborn child. That's relevant in a trial where a pregnant woman was murdered.
You are entitled to a fair and impartial jury.
These questions that we're even asking her, how relevant are they to whether or not Scott Peterson was guilty of murder?
What if he does get a new trial? Will it make any difference for Scott Peterson?
The Scott Peterson appeal hearing. Final arguments. Live coverage starting Thursday at 1 noon Central.
8.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. So what we're doing is we're watching all of the rebuttal argument made by the state of Texas in the case against Yaser Saeed. This is the honor killing trial. And because we've been hitting pause so you won't miss anything, in real time, the jury has the case. So we've got our clock ticking right now. They've had it for 22 minutes. I would bet this would be a fast deliberation, but been wrong before. You never know what a jury will do. So we'll keep an eye on the clock. We'll interrupt this if they should come back immediately. But let's go back in where the state of Texas was making its final arguments. This prosecutor really coming on strong to this jury about their position, which is that Yaser Saeed murdered his children.
He's one man, not God. Someone should be able to stop him. He can't torment us this way. He shouldn't. Anyways, we are running away. Hopefully before the break ends. I know that he will search till he finds us. And he will, without any drama or doubt, kill us. I am worried for my mother. But she would tell him out of fear. We can't bring her. And I can only hope she doesn't get hurt. We love you, Mrs. Hopkins. That tells you the story right there about that dysfunctional home. They want to talk about Patricia Owens, folks? You don't have to agree with the way Patricia Owens handled things, but there are a few things that you do know about that dynamic of that household. You do know that Yaser Saeed was 29 years old when he married a 15-year-old girl, and that he had 3 children with her by the time she was 18 or 19, practically raising her. That he manipulated and controlled that household to where she did exactly what he wanted her to do. She left, she tried to be protective, but he knew that he could get her to always come back. And she did. You hear from this letter that the girls know that she can be manipulated. But as Edgar testified, he said, take your mother with you. And they did. And Yaser called, and he called, and he called like he always had done in the past. He told her he would be better. He told her things would change. And she believed him. And they came home. That's all before you. So defense wants to say we have 1 video and 1 email. There's over 250 pieces of evidence that's been admitted for you during this 4.5-day trial of testimony. We brought you almost 30 witnesses. Witnesses that I will say are retired. So yes, they may be in Mexico, as defense counsel stated. They're retired and they came in here to tell you the story because it's that important to them. It's that important to bring all those officers. It's that important for you to know the truth of what happened to Sarah and Amina Saeed. All signs point to Yaser Saeed.
Subpoenaed to be here by the state.
Do you have an objection,
That
Mr.
is an
Lawler?
objection.
Your objection's overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. All signs point to Yaser Saeed. No one else. No one else. The defendant is not in control. I stated in my opening that he is centered, his life is centered on having control. He controlled his household. You know he controlled Patricia, and you know he controlled these girls, Amina and Sarah Saeed. He controlled everything about his household. And when things were getting bad, when his behavior was escalating, he threatened Amina with a gun, these girls were on the run because they didn't want to be controlled. They wanted to have their own lives. And he saw that he lost that control. He was not going to be able to deal with that. He was not going to be able to deal with that. So he took their lives. He did it. He's the murderer. No one else. "12 years on the run, 12 years without being apprehended. He controlled that too. Plenty of times he could have came out. The boys showed up at the police station. Yaser Saeed never, ever came out and said his side of the story. That fleeing is consciousness of guilt. He ran because he knew he was guilty. And as I asked him during cross-examination, would you have remained hidden today? His response was yes, because he was praying and he was hoping that we would forget, that we would all forget about Amina and Sarah Saeed, that you would forget. That's what he was hoping for. He's been trying to control this whole situation, trying to control him not being convicted of this crime. And guess what? His time is up. Tell him with your verdict, time's up, find him guilty. I ask you for a swift and quick verdict of guilty. Please, these girls have been waiting 14 years for justice. I ask you to return a verdict of guilty for capital murder.
Thank you, counsel.